This is the Kindy Rockstars Podcast, Season 6. Bringing you incredibly talented singers, artists, creators, and producers in the genre of children's music. I'm your host, Patrick Adams. Each episode will feature songs, album features, or video features, and great stories from the artists themselves. Kindy Rockstars Season 6 is proud to be supported and sponsored by Waldmania Public Relations, serving the family entertainment community for over 20 years, and Debbie Derryberry Kids. Debbie Derryberry, one of Hollywood's most active and sought-after voiceover artists, is best known for voicing Jimmy Neutron in the Academy Award-nominated film Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius, and Draculaura in Monster High. A lifetime musician and songwriter, Debbie has written and recorded 4 award-winning preschool music albums. Her song Baby Banana hit #1 on Sirius XM Kid. Her song, written with Grammy-winning artist Lisa Loeb, called The Compost Bin, has won a Napa Award. Her latest album, Gotta Go Green, also a Napa winner, is all about giving kids tangible ways to save the earth through recycling, composting, reducing carbon footprint, and more. Her YouTube channel, Debbie Derryberry Kids, combines her love of cartoons and music with delightful animated videos of her songs. Children listen as well as watch, so a visual component is so important. Kindy Rockstars thanks you so much for your support, and now, on with the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Kindy Rockstars, and I have a fascinating guest today. With me is Don Jordan, director of Nutshell Playhouse. Welcome to the show, Don.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And you are a first-time guest, and I'm excited to learn about you and Nutshell Playhouse, which is sort of a different entity that we've had on this show, just based on the scope of things that you do and create and put out there. So I'm excited to hear about that history as well. But let's start with you. Tell us about Don Jordan.
Well, I do have a quite a varied history. So I was always interested in both theater and music, and I ended up going to a theater school in France, where we studied all different kinds of theater, especially things using masks, clown, puppets, and a lot of mime and movement. And so that got me involved in a kind of theater which you could call it homemade theater or self-created theater. And I would join together with a few other people, and we would create theater pieces and just bring them, tour them around wherever we could go. Um, and it wasn't necessarily oriented towards any age group. It wasn't for children particularly. It was for everybody. And it started to involve more music. But then at a certain point, about 25 years ago, um, I had kids. And so I took the kids to the theater to see what was going on. And as soon as I watched a little of the children's theater that was happening, I just got inspired. I said, I want to do some of this. And it was kind of special also because I it wasn't that I involved my kids in the theater that I was doing, but they were sort of in the room all the time. So I could be with them. It was somehow connected to them. And as soon as I did my first children's show, I completely fell in love with it. That's all I wanted to do after that. And I had been a folk singer all my life. And so when I did the first show, I wrote some songs for it. And everyone said, "Oh, we like the songs. Do more songs." So since then, all the shows have involved quite a number of songs and music. It's all done live. We work with very minimal materials. So we don't have fancy lights or fancy sound. We just have sort of what we can carry in the car, and we can perform in any kind of space. So we do a lot of libraries and things like that. Um, and the songs kept growing and growing. And so we said, well, let's figure out how we can record them. So then we started recording, and away that went. So, and then the stories, which is a little bit of a sidetrack in a way, I guess really also was inspired by my younger son. We spend a lot of time on the water. We have a little summer place where I am right now, on the Connecticut shore. And, we spend a lot of time looking off the dock and seeing what's going on. And so I wrote a series of stories really for him, um, and that now I'm developing into podcasts.
Very good. Yeah, so you're branching into so many different areas of media with what you're doing, which is really interesting. So you got your live performances. You've got, is it two full CDs out already?
Yeah, it's two full CDs and then a bunch of individual songs. The whole format changes so fast
I
I
know.
can't keep up
I
with
just
it.
realized I said the word CDs, and
Yeah, what are
that's
those?
already
Yeah.
dated me. So albums, you've created albums.
Right, right.
And then
Yeah.
the podcast. So are you putting those out on like the podcast platforms?
So they're on all of them, on Spotify, on Apple, on Amazon, and probably on a few other places I don't know about.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, so we're going to feature today a song and a story that we'll get into in a little bit. Let's talk a little bit more about Nutshell Playhouse. So I understand that started in 2007.
Right.
And
Um,
so what did you debut with? What kind of show did you have?
our first show was called The Mighty Mysterious Megapuff. Um, I had two actors working with me, and they created what I like to call clown characters. And when I talk about clown, it's not so much the kind of um, clown that you see in Ringling Brothers or things like that. It's more of a style that's been developed in Europe, which is that I think the fun part of the clown is they're characters who live in a fantasy world, so anything can happen. And the laws of gravity or logic don't, they just don't apply. So that opens up a whole world of the imagination, which I think the kids just love. And I love to do it for them because they come along for the ride. They don't say, "Does this make sense?" They say, "Oh yeah, let's go." Um, yeah, so the Mighty Mysterious Megapop was about um, two characters who were on a mission from some unknown, possibly planet, who arrive on Earth, and they're supposed to find the Megapuff, which is a mysterious creature. And it's mostly their adventures, and they encounter different characters like the Encyclopoodle, that's a dog that knows everything.
It's awesome.
Um, and eventually they find this mysterious Megapuff, which is a sort of amorphous creature, and take their research back with them. So it's like many of my shows, it's an exploration with lots of discoveries, and usually they feature some kind of travel.
Yeah, I'm a big travel fan, so
Yeah,
uh,
but they travel always in unusual ways. So,
gotcha. Yeah, and I think that one of the story we're going to feature today is kind of in that vein.
mhm.
Um, so when you put a show out there, how long do you typically run with that show before you're kind of replacing that with another show?
So it could be we I have a show up now that's been up for at least 15 years,
Oh wow.
but we've done other ones along the way. So our pirate show, for example, has had three different incarnations. We first did it, I think that one's all, 15 years old. We did it for a number of years, and then we, put it on the back shelf, and then we came back to it and maybe changed the actors a little bit, changed it, developed it. So that's had, I think, three different incarnations. Um, the two shows we're doing now, Saving Jazzy, has been there for a long time, but it was also on the shelf for a while. And then we have a relatively new one called Spy Jinx. That's our latest. Um, and that's, I like to do shows for a long period of time for a number of reasons. I mean, one of them is just practicality. Since we create the shows completely and build them, it's not like you can do it in a month. It takes, months and months to build a show. But then once you start doing them in front of audiences, they change, they develop, you get new ideas, you make things better. Um, so I like to keep shows as long as I can.
Gotcha.
It's affection too, I guess I have to say.
So the songs that are featured in the shows, those are what are comprising the albums, or are they different original songs?
So most of the songs come from the shows. And I like this to use the songs in the shows. They can many of them are belong to characters. So the Encyclopoodle has the Encyclopoodle song, for example. And each character is sort of introduced, has their own song. Um, then there are songs that may, tell you what's going on. Like often the show will start with a song that'll kind of set the scene where you are, what you're doing. So Spy Jinx has a spy song, and they introduce themselves as spies to set the stage going. Um, and then sometimes, every once in a while, there's a song that gives you parts of the stories that you're not seeing on stage. So they're sort of lively, engaging ways to have the story develop.
Gotcha.
But then
So,
there are other songs like I did. There's a whole, a sort of I guess you call it an EP nowadays. I think
mhm.
it's half a dozen songs, which is lullabies. And that really is, a couple of them are from shows, but some of them are just songs that I wrote.
Gotcha. That's again such a diverse body of work. So if somebody wanted to see um, a performance, what kind of region are your shows in, and are there particular venues that you're consistently at?
Well, we're, as you can tell by looking at me, but the listeners can't hear, I'm a person of a certain age. So I'm not out there touring the country anymore. This for me, Nutshell Playhouse was very much a community project. I wanted to perform and connect with the community. So we offer all our shows free of charge. We don't charge admission.
Wow.
And we bring them to local venues in all the towns in the county that will find space for us. So that means a lot of libraries, community centers, little theaters, um, even occasionally a bookstore or a cafe or something like that. We're pretty flexible in where we can perform, but for me, it's very much, I like connecting with the community. So it's really Berkshire County, which is Western Massachusetts. We don't get too far outside of that. Um, so but that's what I hope to do with the songs and the podcasts, is be able to
Yeah.
open things up to more people and to bigger audiences.
Yeah. No, get yourself a global audience for that.
It
It's
would be great. Yeah.
the stories translate worldwide. Again, just listening, just previewing
Mm.
the story that we're going to feature
Yeah.
today. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
anyone can enjoy that. All right. Well, let's get into the song first that we're going to feature, and it's called "We're Scientists." So tell us a bit about this song and what show it's from, and
Okay. So this is the opening song to our show, Saving Jazzy. Um, and Saving Jazzy has two scientists who are in search of the most beautiful flower in the world, the floraceous serendipitous, we call it. and they find her, and her name is Jazzy LaFleur. And but she is not looking so beautiful because she is very deprived of the earth, the air, and the water that she needs. So the rest of the show is them going out and finding the things to make her healthy and beautiful again. So this is the opening song where they just um, sort of tell the audience who they are.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we're going to play that song for everybody now. Here it is from the show Saving Jazzy. The song is called We're Scientists. This is Nutshell Playhouse.
Aha, aho. Aha, aho. Aha, aho. There's things we want to know. Aha, aho. Aha, aho. Exploring we will go. Aha, aho. We want to know what's going on. Why up is up and down is down. And if the world is really round. We're scientists, it's true. That's what we do. Aha. Aho. We look at grass and plants and trees. And birds and bears and even bees. To find out nature's mysteries. We're scientists, it's true. That's what we do. What about you? Aha. Aho. We use our eyes and ears and nose, our fingers and sometimes our toes, to find out things that nobody knows. We're scientists, it's true, that's what we do. What about you? You could be too. Aha. Aho. Exploring we will go. Aha!
And that was the song We're Scientists. All right, we're going to shift gears now and get into a story. And this, I understand, is from Tales of Latimer Bay. The story that we're going to feature here is called Finian's Taxi Service. So tell us a little bit about this one.
So Tales of Latimer Bay, the introduction to the whole series um, features a young boy named Joey and his mother who are looking off the dock into the water in this mystical place called Latimer Bay. And his mother asks Joey, "What do you see?" And he says, "Seaweed." And she says, "Well, keep looking a little longer." So he looks a little longer, and all of a sudden he begins to see the sea creatures and all the adventures that they're having. And as you'll hear when you hear the story, the adventures are all fantastic. They're not by any means anything that would happen in the real world. But they all have their, I have maybe 5 or 6 of them written now and more coming. They all have a common theme for me, which is they all feature a particular sea creature character who either gets in some kind of a dilemma or problem or wants something particular that they need to get to get or get out of or fix or work on. And in the course of each story, they enlist various other creatures their fellow underwater creatures, and together somehow they work out a solution or a way to get whatever it is that they want.
Gotcha. And in this particular show, so the taxi service, that is a sea creature that's providing that.
Yes.
I won't give too much of the story
Surprisingly.
away, but yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, I listened to the whole thing. I thought it was super cute. And that feels like something I can just play for my daughter, just to listen to and um, sort of close her eyes and imagine it. So,
It's fun. They're fun to write, and they're fun to record too.
yep. And you're doing all of these, right? You're
I'm
doing the
doing all
voice.
of these myself. Yeah, I did that. I thought of trying to use other actors in different voices, but I'd like it. I want it to feel like a bedtime story with one person telling it rather than a theatrical thing. So that's what I tried to do with it.
Very good. All right. Well, we're going to play the story here for everybody. Again, this is from the Tales of Latimer Bay series. It's called Finian's Taxi Service. Enjoy this story.
Tales of Latimer Bay, written and narrated by Don Jordan. When Joey was 4 years old, his mother took him out on the dock in front of their house on Latimer Bay. Together, they lay down and stared into the water. "What do you see?" his mother asked. "Seaweed," Joey said. "Wait," his mother said. So, Joey waited, and pretty soon, all kinds of wonderful things began to happen. Tale number 2, Finian's Taxi Service. Samantha the clam lived in a bed of sand just beyond the second rock next to Joey's dock. It was a very nice bed of sand, and all the clams who lived there were very happy. Except for Samantha. "Why do I have to stay here in this bed of sand all my life, when all the fish and eels and crabs and even the jellyfish get to swim wherever they want?" she thought to herself. Samantha, whose friends called her Sam, was a very curious clam, and she wanted to see all the wonderful things she had heard about in Latimer Bay. This was a problem, because even though clams can move pretty fast when they want to, they certainly can't move very far. So Sam sat in her bed of sand, looking as sad as a clam can look, and dreamed of far-away places. Just then, something moved on the bottom of the bay. It looked like a pancake with 2 eyes at one end and a tail at the other, and Joey knew immediately that it was a flatfish. Samantha saw it too, and suddenly she had an idea. "Finian!" she called. "Stop!" Now, flatfish have eyes, but they don't have very good ears, so Samantha had to open her shell and yell, "Stop!" 3 or 4 more times before Finian the flatfish heard her. "Did I hear something?" he said to himself. "Or was that just another dogfish barking?" He turned around slowly and saw Sam. "Oh, Finian," cried Sam, "I have a very big favor to ask you." "Oh, what can I do for you?" said Finian, who, even though he was flat, was very generous. "Can you give me a ride around Latimer Bay?" asked Sam. said Finian. "I don't know. I've never taken a clam for a ride before, or anyone else for that matter." "Oh, please," cried Sam. "Well," said Finian, "just because I've never done it before doesn't mean I shouldn't give it a try now. Hop on." Clams, of course, can't hop, but somehow Sam managed to shuffle her way onto Finian's back. "Ready!" she yelled. "Hang on," he said, but it was already too late. No sooner had Finian flapped his flat tail than Sam rolled right off his back and onto her bed of sand. "Oh, sea cucumbers," she said. "Can't you go a little slower?" "If I go any slower," said Finian, "I won't be going at all." "Let's try again," said Sam. So she climbed on again. This time she made sure she had a good seat right on the flat part and not too close to the edge. "Ready!" she yelled. "I think. Whoa!" This time Finian got almost to the second rock before Sam rolled down his tail and into the mud. "Oh, squid's tails," she said. "There has to be something we can do." "Yes, there has to be," said Finian. And he began to think. First, he thought while he sat very still. Then he thought swimming around a bit. Then he curled up and scratched his head with his tail. And suddenly he had an idea. "What you need is a seatbelt," he said. "Of course," said Sam. "A seatbelt. How about a piece of eelgrass?" They both agreed that eelgrass would be perfect because it's long and thin and easy to tie, and mostly because it's green, which was Sam's favorite color. But having a good idea, even a green good idea, isn't very useful if you can't actually do it, and Sam knew that she couldn't possibly tie herself onto Finian's back by herself. She needed someone to help, and it would be best if it was someone with claws. "How about Fritz the fiddler crab?" said Finian. Sam thought Fritz was just the right one to help, because fiddler crabs, when they're not fiddling, are actually very clever. So Finian swam over to the hole in the mudflat where Fritz lived and called him out. "Fritz," said Sam, "can you tie me onto Finian's back?" "Oh, well, oh my," said Fritz, who wasn't too good at making up his mind. "Oh, please, hurry up before the tide goes out," Sam cried. "Well, I'm not sure I know how," Fritz said. "Of course you know how," said Finian. "Just use your claws." "Oh, right," said Fritz, clicking his claws together. So Sam shuffled up onto Finian's back one more time. Fritz picked up the eelgrass in his big right claw, wound it twice around Finian and Sam, pulled it tight with his tiny left claw, and tied it into a neat little bow. "How's that?" he said proudly. "Wonderful!" cried Sam. "Stand back!" "Okay," said Fritz as he scurried behind a clump of seaweed. "Here we go! Giddy up!" she yelled to Finian. Finian flapped his tail and off they went. Slowly at first, and then faster and faster until they had gone all the way across Latimer Bay. "Hooray!" shouted Finian. "We made it!" "Holy hermit crabs!" yelled Sam the clam, as she saw all the wonderful things that swam and floated and crawled in Latimer Bay. And she had such a wonderful time that she wanted all her friends to come for a ride too. So Finian got all of his flatfish friends together and started the Latimer Bay taxi service, which, for 2 jingle shells, will take you for a ride anywhere in Latimer Bay. All customers accepted, including clams, mussels, scallops, oysters, and even sea cucumbers.
If I were a clam, I'd call myself Sam, and I'd nestle all day in a bed of sand, and I'd listen to the swishing of the ocean waves all day, all night, all day.
If I were a fish, I'd give my tail a swish. I'd swim and swim to anywhere I wish, and I'd listen to the swishing of the ocean waves all day, all night, all day.
If I were a whale, I'd go for a sail all around the world with a flick of my tail, and I'd listen to the swishing of the ocean waves all day, all night, all day.
If I were a crab, I'd nibble and I'd nab. Then I'd stretch my claws just to see what I could grab, and I'd listen to the swishing of the ocean waves all day, all night, all day.
If I were a seagull floating on the breeze, I'd spread my wings and live a life of ease, and I'd listen to the swishing of the ocean waves all day, all night, all day. If I were a clam, I'd call myself Sam, and I'd nestle
If I were
all
a clam,
day
I'd
in a
call
bed
myself
of
Sam,
sand,
and I'd nestle
listen to
all
the
day
swishing
in
of
a
the
bed of
ocean
sand,
waves
and
all
I'd
day,
listen
all
to the
night,
swishing
all
of the
day.
call myself
ocean
Sam,
waves
and
all
I'd
day,
nestle
all
all day
night,
in a
I'd
bed
call myself
of
Sam,
sand, and I'd listen to the swishing of the ocean waves,
and I'd listen to the swishing of the ocean waves
and I'd
all
listen
day,
to the
all
swishing
night,
of
I'd
the
call myself
ocean
Sam,
waves
and I'd
all
nestle
day,
all
all
day in
night,
a
I'd call
bed
myself
of
Sam,
sand, and I'd listen to the swishing of the ocean waves,
and I'd listen to the swishing of the ocean waves all day, all night, all day,
all night,
all day, all night, all
day, all night,
all day, all night, all
day, all night,
all day, all night, all
day, all night.
all day, all night, all day.
If I Were a Clam by Don Jordan and Nutshell Playhouse. Performed by Wendy Walraven, Matt Pacetto, and Vanessa Byrne. Find more songs and stories at nutshellplayhouse.org.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the story, Finian's Taxi Service. So we're gonna kind of ask you now a couple different things. Where can people find the songs, the stories, and if they are anywhere near Berkshire, Massachusetts, Berkshire County, Massachusetts, how can they find out about your shows and when they're taking place?
Okay. Um, we are on the usual social media. Um, so we're on Facebook as Nutshell Playhouse, and we're on Instagram as Nutshell Playhouse, and all the performances will be listed there.
Okay, good.
I try to keep that up to date. Fortunately, I have help. Um, and then we do have our website, which is www.nutshellplayhouse.org, O-R-G. And that can connect you to anything. So on there, you can find connections to all the music platforms and also the podcast, the story platforms. And usually, if I keep it up to date, we've got our performances on there too. Also, there's just information about us and more pictures and stuff like that. Um, the music is it's on all the platforms. It's on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, and a bunch of others. And it's under Don Jordan and Nutshell Playhouse.
Gotcha.
So that's that would be the artist name that you'd look for. Um, and the podcasts are also on all those different platforms, and they are either you can look up Nutshell Playhouse or you can look up Tales of Latimer Bay, either one of those. But if you go through our website, it can link you directly to any of the different, whatever your favorite platform is, which is good. It's a very confusing jungle out there. And I don't know, kids probably navigate it better than we do, but it's it's seems to be we haven't figured out how to get the music and the podcasts on the same page.
Right.
So if you go to Spotify, you have to look for the music, and then you have to go to their podcast thing to look for the podcast. We try to find ways to connect them together so people can jump, but don't give up. Keep looking.
Right. Yeah,
They're out
exactly.
there.
And it works with some, and I know this because as an artist named Patrick Adams, I'm one of many artists with that name.
Yo, boy.
And one is a fairly popular, I think, funk and soul producer from the 70s and early 80s.
Uh-huh.
So my music, which is, children's music and 80s covers, uh, gets mixed with his music, which
Right, right.
totally different genre of music.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. But I have worked with a couple of different platforms to separate the music. So I know it's possible with some, but not with all. I've had
Right.
no
Yeah.
luck with Amazon Music being able to do that.
Oh, Amazon. Yeah.
So all right. Well, what's the next big thing coming up for Nutshell Playhouse?
Um, so um, we really sort of our performances are spread out over the years, so we don't have necessarily big events. Whenever we book something, we book it. So there may be we have a show coming up Monday, but it's at a private local daycare place, for example. Then we have other ones in some libraries in July. Um, my main actual interest right now is I'm trying to get all the songs recorded because there's still a bunch of songs that are not recorded. Um, and one of the things about working the way we do, this is, even though we always offer the shows free of charge, it's a professional company. So I pay my performers to perform and to rehearse. So that means, of course, we have to fundraise to do
Yeah.
all that. But that also means that I'm working with professional performers. And so they have their lives. They're trying to, make a living performing. And also some of them, they have families and everything else. So it's a real juggling act to try to get everything done and keep it at the high quality level that we like to have it. So the songs, for example, it takes us quite a while to record each song
Yeah.
and to produce it and to get it at the level that we want it to be. So that's what I'm really working on the next few months.
Gotcha.
And of course, the podcast, hopefully there'll be one out. I hope to get one out every month.
Yeah. Yeah, those are a little simpler to put together and put out there.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
no, I know with the state of Nevada, they do have project grants and things like that. Does Massachusetts offer something to that effect?
We would be nowhere without the Massachusetts Cultural Council. They are
Yeah,
our main supporters through various routes that they provide money. But yes, that and then local sponsors.
perfect. Well, Don, it's been great having you on the show. I'm fascinated with what you do, and I think it's wonderful to put these out there free of charge. And you know, the shows sound really fun, entertaining, and whimsical. And I wish you nothing but luck and success and getting a more global audience with it.
Well, thanks. And I really appreciate you having me on. And also, I just think it's wonderful that you're doing a show like this
Yeah,
because they're very special and there aren't enough of them.
yeah. Well, thank you, and I do look forward to talking to you again soon.
Great. Thank you.